Okay, so what we're gonna do first with either your piece of cardboard that's about 8 by 10, and I say size because your matchsticks are standard size. So what we're gonna be doing is making something with the matchsticks the length they are. We're not gonna be cutting them down. And I'm using a piece of page out of a vintage book. And what I wanna do first is paint my background because as you can see, there's gonna be an edge showing here. So I'm gonna paint my background first, and then we'll be putting the page on. I don't have to paint the whole entire canvas because only the outer edges are gonna be showing. And just whatever color you like. I'm using red because my matchstick end is red. But you can use whatever color suits you, whether you're putting this in a bedroom and you want to match the decor of your bedroom, or you're giving it as a gift to someone. Now, if you're doing this at home, you'll want to have either newspaper or something as your to cover your table or whatever you're painting on. I'm using a painter's drop cloth, so I don't care if I get paint on it. That way it can be messy if I want to be messy. Okay, so there's my paint. And now I want to take my page and I'm going to put Mod Podge on the back. Actually, let's move this out of the way and it'll dry pretty quickly. This is a really cool image on the back, but I'm not using that. I want the text to be on my piece of art. So I'm just going to cover the back of this paper with the Mod Podge, and then I'm going to put it on my canvas or my cardboard. Make sure you get it really covered well, because we're going to press it down and we're going to try to make sure we don't have any bubbles in it. Okay, now we're going to put it onto our canvas. And you may want to let your paint dry a little bit more. I just didn't because I'm making this video and don't want to make you wait. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my matches and just kind of rub on my page with it flat. So I have it flat. So I'm just making sure that all of that is sticking. And some of the red may rub off, and that's okay. I'm just kind of making sure it's getting stuck down pretty good. And I do have a bubble. I don't know if you can see that on the video or not. I've got a pretty good bubble right there. So I'm just going to kind of rub it to get it to come out, get that air to come out. Okay. So there is the backdrop for our matches. And now get a little bit of your Mod Podge and you want to put it in a, like on a paper plate or in a little cup. I'm just going to use this little cup. And this is going to be what we use to attach our matches with. And we're going to make a heart. So we're going to make the shape of a heart, and our matchsticks, the red is going to be the center, and that's where you're going to see the shape of the actual heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint on a little bit of the Mod Podge, and I'm going to put my first matchstick down as the center, or that little point in the middle of the heart. And that's going to be, whoops, that's going to be our starting point. And then you may want to just add a little bit of Mod Podge on the side too. These guys are pretty light, so it's easy for them to come unstuck. All right, so there's our first one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to layer each one around, making the shape of a heart. And now I'm going to set you on fast time so you can see how I do this pretty quickly. Okay, so I don't know if you could tell in the fast motion, so I'm gonna come back to regular speed for the other half, but my fingers tend to get really sticky. Matches are really small, so it's kind of hard to not get all of the Mod Podge or glue on your hands. And so my little trick is that when I place it down to be glued down, I'm gonna add a little bit more on the sides, but then I'm gonna use my brush to hold it down when I lift my finger away, because my fingers are sticking to them and lifting them up off the paper. And that way the brush actually doesn't stick, so it can hold it down. And now I'm mirroring this other side. So I did one side instead of alternating left and right, and then I'm gonna mirror the left to the right. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Art is not perfect because it's created by humans, and humans are imperfect. So art should be imperfect as well. And art is what we make it, and it's in the eye of the beholder. So I'm actually going to count so that I can be close. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 before, like as it arches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. And so now I'm going to start to come back around this way. Oops. And again, I'm just slathering the glue or the Mod Podge on, then adding a little bit to the sides, and using my brush to hold it down while I lift my finger off. And there's some other things you can do with matchsticks like this too. You can break them down into shorter sizes and use them to make flowers, which I may make some and then add some pictures to this video at some point, but I wanted to start with the heart. I had seen this somewhere else and thought it was pretty cool. I've also seen wind chimes made out of matchsticks, and some of the flowers I've seen as 3-dimensional. So you make a circle with one layer glued onto a piece of round paper or cardboard, and then you glue another layer of matches over the top, and it kind of makes a layered petal look, which is really cool. You could also paint the matchsticks before you use them, but I like using them as they are because it's like a form of upcycling or repurposing something that is normally used for a totally different purpose. I love doing art that way, using things that are pretty unexpected. I really do like using old books or old magazines to get images for your backdrop, almost like you're using them as wallpaper. And when you're using vintage books, it almost gives them a new life. I do hate tearing them up, but now this page is going to be seen, whereas before it probably wouldn't. I'm having to dampen my fingers a little bit, get some of this glue off because it is starting to make a mess. Need a little bit more Mod Podge. And I'm probably not going to use all of my matches. I could technically put these a little bit closer together in some spots, but I like the way that it looks, kind of giving, almost looks like a lion, a lion's mane or a starburst or a sunburst. But you could put them even closer together and use more matches if you wanted to. Some matches have green tips, and you can use those to make a Christmas tree, which I think would be really fun for the holidays. You could make it into a little wall hanging, or you could turn it into a Christmas ornament. We're getting close to the end. And then once we're finished, we'll have to let this dry really good. Okay, I think one more match will do it. So as you can see, I did not measure, I did not mark anything off as far as the center of my heart or anything like that. My husband will give me a hard time because I didn't center it. You can see the matches on the left. Over here, there's more space than there is over here, so I didn't center it very well. But again, it's imperfect, just like we are. And there we go. There's my heart. Now, if I wanted to embellish it a little bit further, I could put some little jewels in the center. I could maybe paint something else around the border, but I like it just like it is. I also could have let it completely dry and I could have Mod Podged over the page that's on top of my canvas, and that would have given it a little bit different look, but I like it like it is. So there we go. There's your matchstick art tutorial for today. Try it at home.